Spoiler warning for Honkai Star Rail up to the end of version 2.2 of Penacony's Trailblaze mission questline. If you have not reached the end of that point in the story and do not wish to be spoiled, click off and return once you have seen everything that will be covered in this video. Disclaimer: the footage I used for story content in this video was borrowed from other sources. Here's the list of channels and content creators I borrowed footage from. Also, if I get anything wrong, let me know in the comments below. With that out of the way, let's begin the analysis of Sampo and Sparkle's lore and characters.
Let's play hide and seek.
What are you waiting for?
Don't we know the dice, see what they may fall. Come on, why don't we spin the wheel, see who it may call. Give in to temptation. Maybe lose it all, yeah. Who knows where the winds of fate may lead us.
I decided to pair these two together for this one. Sampo and Sparkle are members of the Masked Fools, a mischievous group following the paths of elation. Their Aeon, Aha, is an unhinged and unpredictable individual, with it being outright mentioned in the game's databank that they select their emanators purely at random and toy with humans depending on their mood. Due to Aha being one of only a few Aeons who operate closer to mortals, it's no wonder that their ideology and chaotic tendencies strongly influence their followers. The Masked Fools seek joy above all else, stirring up as much mayhem as possible and by any means necessary to have a good laugh. As Cyndi Lauper famously saying, the Masked Fools just want to have fun. Y'all thought I was gonna rickroll you right there with the Ask Rickley quote, but no, that fruit was hanging a bit too low for my tastes. Let's start with Sampo, since he's the first of the two we meet, making his debut in the story during the Eurilo 6 Trailblaze questline. He's actually the first person the team meets when they arrive on the snowy planet, though he runs off as soon as Gepard shows up in the area. However, he comes back around and saves the trio when Kokolia sends the Silvermane Guard after them. During our time in the underworld, we come to find out Sampo isn't well liked by anyone there either. Listen to voice lines about him. Everyone talks about how untrustworthy he is or the crimes he's committed. He's a pariah on all sides of the planet, though still seems to do his part as a member of Wildfire, albeit in a roundabout and silly way. His goofy persona ends up putting players' guards down, assuming he's relatively harmless at the end of the day. Sampo would fade into the background during the last part of the Eurilo 6 storyline in the sweltering morning sun. He disappears after he meets Serval at the start of the chapter and doesn't reappear until the very end. His relatively small impact on the whole scope of Eurilo 6's narrative was intentional, as explained by Sampo himself in this short epilogue.
Hey, Sampo doesn't have to be a protagonist, right? The likes of us are better suited to, shadowy comic relief, huh?
That, plus his line about wishing the people at the tavern his regards, served as confirmation of what faction he was truly part of. Sampo's full name is Finnish in origin. The Sampo in Finnish mythology was a magical device that was capable of producing unlimited resources, ranging from flour to salt to gold, which goes in line with the character's role as a shady salesman on Belobog and his desire for profit. His surname Koski means rapids in Finnish, referring to water rapids, sections of rivers that cause an increase in the water's velocity and turbulence. A rather perfect last name for a masked fool. While the next time we see Sampo would be on Penacony, we do hear from him on the Xianzhou Lafu. Despite the rest of Eurilo 6 having no means to communicate or transport to other planets, and with the Lofu not even being a planned stop for the Astral Express, somehow Sampo left us a note on a mini neutron bomb that's part of a side quest. Are you having a good time at the Xianzhou Alliance? This implies that not only was he aboard the airship, but also got on it before even we did? What? Finally, we make it to Penacony. Sampo takes on a prominent role in the companion quest shared between Black Swan and Sparkle. Here, he helps Black Swan investigate and solve the murder mysteries Sparkle set up. He did so as a favor to Sparkle. At the end of the quest, the Trailblazer looks into a memory bubble to see a short conversation between Sampo and Sparkle at the Referee's bar. Here we find out why Sampo was helping Sparkle out.
Shouldn't you give my mask back to me now?
Sparkle is curious as to why Sampo would suddenly want his mask back, implying that he may have given up his mask to better blend in on Eurilo 6. She then assumes a great catastrophe is coming to the planet, but Sampo doesn't give her an answer. Instead, he tells Sparkle to stay away from Blockade, saying the elation she seeks isn't something he can stand by. This conversation seems to be setting up another return to Eurilo 6. Sparkle's assumption about a looming catastrophe may not be too far off the mark. It's interesting to see Sampo's reaction to the impending threat, getting his mask back to possibly save the planet from destruction. Deep down, there may be a heart of morality that makes him want to help out the underworld as part of Wildfire. Would think that as a masked fool, he'd revel in the chaos a big calamity would bring onto a planet's people, but he says his elation is different from Sparkle, so maybe he finds more joy in the chaotic struggle and victory against such a threat. We won't know for sure until Sampo makes another appearance. I think that's enough Sampo for now. Get this fucking rat off my screen. Time to talk about Sparkle. Now, she's a hard character to analyze due to her being an unreliable narrator. If you don't believe me, that's quite literally the name of her technique in the game, as she says in her voice line about the past.
An abandoned orphan, a cursed little girl, the last descendant of the puppet clan. I can tailor it to the tastes of the individual.
Her Myriad Celestia trailer serves as a prime example of what she's talking about, as she gives 3 different tellings of essentially the same story. Sparkle's true past is left as one big question mark, making her a great foil for Black Swan to bounce off of over the course of their companion quest. However, Black Swan is able to get one over on Sparkle by peeking into her memories and finding out that someone hired the actress to come to Pentagony, someone who wouldn't want Sparkle to link up with other forces. This story quest actually does give us insight into Sparkle's character. Sparkle sets up 3 murders for Black Swan to solve. A popular theory that emerged after this quest came out is that these 3 murders are meant to reference the 3 deaths that have occurred during the first chapter of Pentagony's main plot. An actual murder, although in this quest's case it was an attempted one due to Dreamscape rules. A tragic accident that involves a red herring. The third is someone faking their death. The first case is meant to serve as a reference to Duke Inferno's real death at the hand of Acheron. The second murder was a proxy for Firefly's supposed death, with the red herring in that instance being that Firefly didn't actually die at all. By process of elimination, the final case, the fake death, was Yasuhiro Hagakure. No, I'm joking. It's Robin's. In Sparkle's mystery, it turns out the assistant detective Sampo helped great artist Sparkle in staging her death. In the same vein, Adventurine may have helped Robin fake her death to stir up conflict in the family. All that doesn't seem to be a string of coincidences either. At the end of the quest, Black Swan messages the player about the events that happened and had this to say: Sparkle's pranks are not without their benefits. She's able to make us re-examine what we have already seen and think about the appearance and reality of the dreamscape. Sparkle is much smarter than she lets on, already aware of what's really happening and the disaster it's all leading to. In her own cryptic way, these detective antics, her hints towards Adventurine and befriending a mute, and having the Trailblazer go through funny memory bubbles while disguised as Sampo, are her trying to guide others to discovering the truth behind the many mysteries plaguing Pentagony. As she tells Black Swan near the end of the companion quest,
If you're too late to take the stage, you can work behind the scenes.
while both operate to stir up trouble for their amusement, Sparkle and Sampo's ideas of elation are different. For Sampo, he really is just a prankster and only causes harmless levels of chaos for the greater good. For Sparkle, her ultimate joy may be a lot more sadistic. It's possible she wants to expose the secrets keeping Pentagony stable so she can watch the planet burn and explode into fireworks. This is further implied to be the case at the start of the 3rd chapter of Pentagony. During the quest, the Fool always rings twice. She's handing out the same button she gave Adventurine in the previous chapter, a device she calls a mutually assured destruction button, asking everyone to only press it in unison during the Charmony Festival. The fact this didn't come into play during the finale of that same chapter, paired with her voice line about her name where she says she'll be a side character who will take the spotlight during the climax, I don't think we've seen the last of Sparkle. Pentagony's story will continue, and so her plans of sowing chaos. I was initially conflicted on whether or not to talk about this, but I figured this wouldn't be a complete analysis if I didn't bring this up. Sparkle's first conversation with Adventurine. This sparked controversy on social media due to lines of dialogue where Sparkle was antagonizing and mocking Adventurine for being a Sigonian.
You Sigonians are notorious throughout the entire universe. Liars, thieves, social manipulators, wolves in sheep's clothing. You're really living up to the reputation.
This caused an uproar on Twitter where media literacy truly goes to die. I saw people genuinely try to defend Sparkle, claiming she was misunderstood, which is crazy to me. Sparkle was never a pure-hearted goofball or just a mean lesbian. Far from it, in fact. The masked fools intentionally cause mayhem wherever they go solely for some sense of schadenfreude, you know? They're not a group of good people. Sparkle is not meant to be a good person. Hell, there's a scene at the end of Penacony's first chapter where she takes on Robin's appearance to taunt Sunday over his sister's death.
What an asshole!
Sparkle is a morally gray villainess with both likable and unlikable traits. People commonly love villains in media while not agreeing with their actions or beliefs. People love Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter and aren't, you know. By that same logic, you are not racist for being a fan of Sparkle. As I've shown in this analysis, there's a lot of compelling things about Sparkle as a character that makes her enjoyable. But please, whether you're a fan of her or not, don't try to downplay her villainous tendencies. You're ironically doing her character a disservice by doing that. That's the lesson you should take away from this tangent. Let Sparkle be a terrible person. She's more fun to follow when she has her rougher edges. Fitting for their affiliation with the Masked Fools, Sampo and Sparkle are fun to have around. Their personalities and the fantastic vocal performances of their actors make them stand out from the rest of the cast in the best way possible. So good on you, Sampo. You did bring some joy into your audience. Thank you for watching this video. This is one part of a series of analysis videos on Penacony's cast of characters. If you want to see me analyze another character from Penacony, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, like this video to let me know if I did a good job. As a smaller content creator on the platform, engaging with my videos really, truly helps me out. Thank you once again for watching, have a great rest of your day, and until we meet again, take care. I fucking got you with that, didn't I? I so got you!